Thank you guys for letting me come be in your pod.
Whoa. This isn't 2 peas and a urinal cake.
Fair enough.
This is... I'm Derek.
And I'm Jared, and this is 2 Peas and a Pod.
How's it going, buddy? How was your last quarter? Fill me in.
It was good. It was the busiest quarter for work and busiest quarter for people's lives, I think. Yeah, we just kind of got away from doing anything that revolves a podcast during the last quarter, huh?
Yeah. I mean, there was the occasional, hey, how's it going? Oh, it's good. Let's do it. Hey, never mind. A whole bunch of shit just blew up in my face.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. But new year, new season of 2 Peas in a Pod. We're officially into season 2 of this podcast. So that's super exciting. We at least made it a year of somewhat doing it consistently.
22 episodes.
Yep.
It's not quite 50%.
No.
So I wouldn't say we passed, but we'll look to improve upon.
Yeah.
You know, now you can't improve what you don't measure, right?
Right.
Something like that. So we're measuring.
I always say, if we broke it up into quarters, right? There's 4 quarters. 2 out of 4 quarters ain't bad. It's kind of like how the Green Bay played their entire season. They played like 2 quarters of every game, and that's it. But
and they still ended with a 10-6 record.
Yeah,
that tells you about the shitty teams, right?
Yeah. So we made the playoffs, so that's always a fun time.
Yeah. Well, actually, another good example is the Chiefs. The Chiefs never played a single quarter all season long, but they somehow pulled out wins every single time.
15-2, not a big deal.
They have the 12th man on the field, and I'm not talking about the fan base.
Yeah, that's for sure.
At least that's how do you feel about that? Since we're segueing around here.
Yeah, well, so obviously the Super Bowl is coming up Sunday. We'll address the elephant in the room. There's a Super Bowl coming up.
Eagles, Chiefs.
I truly believe that the best teams are not in the Super Bowl this year.
So who were the best teams? That's my question to that statement.
The Bills. I think the Bills were one of the best teams. For a quarterback, so there was a stat out there for a quarterback. The stats that the Bills had, I don't know my exact quote. I'll probably pull it up. For them to have the amount of touchdowns they've had, the amount of wins they've had, they have to have at least a 1,000-yard receiver or a 1,000-yard running back. They had neither. All they had was Josh Allen, and he just found ways to win, except for when it mattered because they played the Chiefs.
Yeah, so let me ask you that. Why, if it's supposed to be the best teams, why did the Bills lose to the Chiefs? What's your...
So my answer I think my political answer is last year we saw an enormous spike in the viewings of the NFL due to the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce relationship.
Okay.
Well, the people that are watching the games just want to see Taylor Swift. They don't know football. Like, a lot of them didn't, right? So you see that spike in games from a business standpoint of the NFL. What was the stat? How many millions of dollars did Taylor Swift bring in through their relationship? There was some stat with like jersey sales and viewership, and like attendance records on those games where she was attending, where she was involved. I think it's a ploy where they push him through the season and they spike viewerships.
So you're saying it's all rigged?
You're
in the bandwagon of it's all rigged.
That's a completely different topic. But I think there was a lot of questionable calls that went the Chiefs' way to help promote that. But again, I mean, you can say that about most games. Look at the Vikings and the controversial calls that happens with the Vikings. And
do you remember the Amon St. Brown catch? I don't remember who they were playing, but Amon St. Brown caught it with like his toe in his calf, and I'm like, I've never seen a calf get included as an extra touch like that. Like, how are his calves shaped that he was allowed? Like, they were just like, that was such an insane catch. It has to be. We have to call it. Like, we have to just make it good, right?
Right. Where was the possession?
And I think that's it's different than recency bias, but I almost want to like throw it in that category, and I don't know what you would call it, but it's like winner's bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, right now, or at the time that was happening, the Lions were a train, right? Like people were behind the Lions, and the league felt that, and so maybe it's like, yeah, they're playing some shitty like 2-10 team that nobody cares. Like we're not gonna improve. Like call it right.
Yeah,
Make
right,
this
right,
make this historical. I
right.
think it was a historically bad call. Like even as much of a fan of the Lions as I am, I'm like, I do not in the life of me understand how that was a catch. I'm glad it kind of was, but I'll always kind of have an asterisk. It's not the OBJ reach behind your head. Like it was
Right.
that level of a catch. It was that
Right.
great of a catch, but it wasn't good in my opinion.
Right.
That's what I'm
Or
saying.
like the Jacobs catch on the helmet for the New York Giants.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that,
exactly,
you
dude.
know, like where do you call possession, right? How did he
Yeah.
maintain possession to the ground, all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, and again, you look at like they're saying like what was it, 50 or 60% of the Chiefs games were decided in less than a score, so less than 7
Yeah.
points. And I mean, they find ways to win, sure, but like that first down call when it clearly shows the ball touched the first down line with the Bills Chiefs game.
Yeah,
and
the Josh Allen one.
Yeah, and not saying
Which was
that
a
would have
huge
caused
pinnacle
them
call.
right, and it's not saying that
was a
they
good
would have
call.
won because of that. But I mean, who knows? I mean, that was a 4th and 1. Like they were
Yeah.
they were close to the red zone, but again,
Yeah.
everyone's going to have their own opinion. I just feel that I think Washington has had a better season than the Eagles. But they're a brand new team. They have a rookie quarterback, so I can't necessarily say that they should be in it versus the Eagles. I just the Eagles have one play, and it's handed off to Barkley and hope for the best, and he dropped 60-yard runs.
I'm disappointed he didn't get MVP, man, to be honest with you. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. The MVP is a quarterback award. That's what they say. But then it's
Yeah.
not really the MVP.
Right.
It's a like that's the best quarterback award. Like,
Yeah.
are they the most? I do think though, like you can't win. Like Jalen Hurts might not be known as one of the greatest quarterbacks. I don't even know. I'd be hard pressed to see if people put him in the top 5. Like, I don't think he's
or
below
like
top
in
10.
the league.
In the league right now. Yes, in the league right now.
Yeah,
I
I'd
don't think
say-
people would put him below top 10, but I don't know that he's necessarily in the top 5. He had a lot of really good weapons around him, but Jalen Hurts he still does what's needed to win, and that's what I
Right.
would kind of say about all that.
I think the reason why Eagles are finding success is they didn't have a good running back, so they used Jalen Hurts as a running back / QB, and now they've unlocked that extra potential where Hurts isn't running or scrambling. He's making informed passes, decisions, check downs.
Yeah.
And when they have to run the ball, they give it to the
Run
bowling
last.
ball.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley,
Dude, who's just
Man.
dude's a freaking video game.
Yeah. Wow. Backwards leap.
That was so
over,
nuts,
like,
dude.
Someone
That is the greatest play ever. That is,
someone-
in my opinion, the greatest thing
Oh.
ever.
Someone texted me and they're like, "So can we put it in Madden now?"
Yeah.
Like it happened in real life. So can you have a Madden call? So it's pretty interesting.
So my one piece about the whole who's in the Super Bowl is that I think there are some questionable calls, but a game doesn't come down to 1 or 2 calls. It's a culminate. There's 100 plays in a game.
Sure.
Are there certain ones that have weightier effect? Absolutely. But I just think that it was a culmination of things, and that's just the straw that broke the camel's back. And people have been saying, I agree, the Chiefs seem like they get a lot of calls, but I also don't think we're watching everybody else with that level of a microscope.
Right.
I think is the other. You will see what you want to see. And so I try to I don't know. I don't believe it's rigged because I think too many people would have to be in on it. You can't get I guess you could get the refs in on it because that's a smaller group of people, but then you can't just get this group of refs. You have to get all the refs in on it.
Yeah.
So and I just feel like, in my opinion, and I'm putting a lot of faith in humanity here, is that someone would be like, no, our morals and our ethics are higher than this.
Yeah.
And you would get a whistleblower.
Ask that whistleblower from Boeing what happened when he whistle blew.
Yeah, he died, but
he didn't die. He committed suicide. Okay, with the note.
he got suicided. Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying. I think maybe psychologically though, and again, it's just me throwing it out there. I'm not a doctor. This isn't a professional statement. When you have the perception of all the extra revenue, sometimes in the back of your mind, you may sway a certain way when making a call. If it's a questionable call, you may lean on one side or the other based off of where the Chiefs are at and what it looks like for the NFL.
Hey, yeah, if you vote for the Chiefs, you're more likely to get a Super Bowl bid, and so therefore you're going to get a lot more money because you're a Super Bowl referee or the crew for the Super Bowl,
right?
Or something. Or my cousin's got a gambling bet on.
Right.
Like who does really know? I mean, I see what you're saying. It's just like, hey, I've got an opportunity here where it's really 50-50.
And no one can
lean towards the one that benefits me.
Right. I can't technically get called out for this. Like, I can't get fired because it's controversial or there's not enough evidence. But even like that, they have this senior analysis for like the ref. They're like, I wouldn't have called that one. And it seemed like more often than not, that guy was like, I didn't really see much there, but I can see why they called it, or that stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I get it. I don't think it looks good. In my opinion, I do think the two best teams are in there because of the two teams that beat everybody else. That's the only. That's how I look at it. At the end of the day, there's winners and losers.
Yeah.
And these guys just happen to be winning at the right time. So
fortunately, the NFL doesn't have participation medals.
No. So I'm excited. I'm going to be watching it. I'm probably going to be told to shut up during the commercials like I get every year when my in-laws come over who don't even watch football, but they just come over to watch the commercials. But then I'm trying to yabber and jabber and stuff like that. I honestly watch about this much of the actual game when I'm watching the Super Bowl, and it's just, hey, let's eat some food, drink some beers, and have a good time.
I got invited to a Super Bowl party, so I'll be doing that. Speaking of the commercials, right? I remember, and maybe it's just because I'm older now, but like in the early 2000s, dude, I got excited for the commercials. They were so edgy. Like they were tiptoeing that line all the time. And now you're like, oh, wow, cool. Like that one with last year with like the NFL players and the sheep and like that whole mess of I can't remember what it was.
I thought the couch potato ones were pretty funny. I thought that was a pretty good good
but
one.
It used to be like every single like ad
every
break,
commercial was great.
You're like, which was this is gonna be? What are they? And now it's just like, oh, that's it.
So I agree, and I'm actually hopeful for this season because things like DEI and some of that, like you see Bud Light. Bud Light's now got Shane Gillis in commercials.
Yeah.
After their blowback, right?
Yeah.
So that's Bud Light, Budweiser. I see, and again, that's just one example, but you see kind of a pulling back on this. Let's all walk around with kids' gloves and not hurt each other's feelers and stuff like that. You see some of that getting like just people are like, fuck it,
Yeah.
And so I'm hopeful that maybe we'll get some edgy shit.
Well,
again.
And back to like our previous talks and stuff, the cancel culture content that's been shut down. We've been seeing a lot of hints of that spark back up over the last year and a half. Look at the roasts and some of the other things.
Yep.
So
who was it
too? But
dude, we should almost watch it. But Whitney Cummings on CNN, it was hilarious. It was during like the New Year's drop, and she was just going off. I can't remember. She said something. 3,000 people. That's lower than CNN's daily viewership. Just like ripped them on stage. And then I can't remember. She made another joke about Pfizer, and she looked over at one of the guys, and he must have just been like mean mugger, and she's like, "Holy shit! Are you gonna stab me?"
Yeah.
It's just,
but it's a joke. It's a joke. Like if you can't handle it, then turn the station. Like
don't invite me. Don't invite a comedian, and don't expect not to get roasted.
Right. I agree. So yeah, I'm hopeful. I mean, I'll be watching it. I always either have a Super Bowl party or I go to one. So I always watch it just because it's always it's the last hurrah for football. And then we've got the XFL for the summer that I don't watch, but it's gaining a lot of popularity. They merged with the UFL, is that or the
Well, it was the Arena Football League, and then somebody else, and then The Rock bought them all. Yeah, I think, and or combined them or partnered or and The Rock's doing things, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's got tequila. He's an actor. He's got his own line of workout clothes.
That's awesome.
He's got an XFL. Like you talk about a
gamer's
guy,
game, baby.
I was gonna say you talk about a guy that comes from nothing. That is, I feel he's one of those like unicorns where he's truly a good person. Like you don't see him in controversies that I've seen.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
like,
yeah,
he
yeah.
just seems
He's
like
not
a
wrapped
guy,
up in the Diddy list or nothing.
yeah, and all that. Like, he just seems like a truly honest, like, what he talks about and what he does is truly who he is, and it's not just a facade because he's famous or whatever. He talks
Yeah.
about working out while other people are sleeping and grinding, and then having Sundays with his family. And I follow him on Instagram, and like
Nice.
every other like month, it shows him where he's sitting down with his girls, and they're like putting makeup on his face and like dressing him up, and he just seems like an honest guy.
That's a scary fucking clown, bro.
Imagine if the clown walks in on a birthday party look like that. You're like, that. Yeah.
Now, does he got a shirt top on, or is he rocking his Polynesian tribal tats?
100% shirtless in the Instagram post. Yeah,
and just red hair with a white face.
No, they put the makeup on, and it's like, I mean, it's like it's bald head, but either like painting his head or whatever, and they paint on like a necklace.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, like I said, it just seems like he's truly one of those just down to earth guys. So, but
I think he is. He's been on the Pat McAfee show a couple times, and that's where again I've seen him in more of a long form scenario.
Yeah.
Right. Because I do think it's pretty easy for people to be cool for clips. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
When all I got to do is be cool for 10 seconds, that's not so bad. But so I agree with you. Yeah, I think he seems pretty cut of the earth. So speaking of New Year's stuff.
Yeah.
You got any New Year's resolutions that you've already given up on?
Well, so here's the thing. You have to start them.
Yeah.
Stop them. So here's what I do. I just don't even start them. So you can't be disappointed and you can't stop them. It's like you never started, but you've never stopped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We are truly two peas in a pod. Because I never start New Year's resolution.
I did. So I will say one of the things I did want to do in the new year is take my PTO more seriously and go places versus like taking staycations or taking like a day here, a day there. Like taking an actual like week or extended weekend and go do something versus in the past, a lot of times I'll take PTO to go home to visit family. Not that not going to do that, but I do that or I just take the week off and stay at home and bum around and clean the house or whatever,
Because you're capped out. Need to use it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you use it or lose it, So this year, I already went to Arizona a couple weeks ago, and then I've got plans to go to, like, Chicago and...
Don't go there.
Just anyways. And go, like, to... just go to different states and just go enjoy it, concerts or... that kind of stuff. So we'll see what the year plans out. I haven't fully decided it, but I've got 37 days I got to use this year. So better figure that out.
That's a lot.
Well, but that's
4+ weeks.
Well, it's 5-day work weeks, so it's actually a little over 7 weeks.
Oh wow!
But
you're accruing a year.
Well, that's all you get. You get a standard based on years of service. So, the PTO incorporates sick time, holiday pay, or holiday time, and vacation. It's all like in one. So if I get sick, I have to use PTO to cover it. Or if I want to take a holiday off, I use PTO to have a holiday off. So it's not as much as you, I guess, would think it would be, because you have people have there's certain companies that have vacation, sick time, holiday time.
My wife's kind of got one of those where she gets so many sick days, but then she gets PTO days.
Yeah, so
stuff like that.
So looking forward to looking at that, and I mean I've got all the way till next January to use it, so got a whole year to plan. So other than that, no, I don't really have a lot of New Year's resolutions. Just try and be a better person every day, Derek.
Keep blowing that smoke up your butt, bud.
What about you? What do you got for New Year's? I know you didn't say you start anything, but
I do not do that. The closest thing that I get to New Year's resolutions is I try to start things that I want to do on Mondays, just because that's like a good, in my opinion, like a good day to start things because you can try to start building on a habit. That's one of the only things.
So could you maybe elaborate? So every Monday you're gonna try and start something, or you?
No. Just if I ever am like, oh, I need to start taking a pill. Like I take I take a probiotic. I do it on Mondays.
Just
I did right away. I took it daily because you need to prime your guts with good bacteria.
Yeah.
But then I chose Monday as the day I take it because after you do the first 30 days, then you just take it weekly.
Mm.
And I'll
cool.
say this: this is a plug for probiotics. I actually am getting sick less, and so
you usually get sick
what
a
a
lot?
doctor. I get sick more, especially now that I work from home. I have a poor microbiome. Like I don't interact with people other than my kids, so it's just people bringing illnesses to me.
And kids are the worst at that.
Kids are the worst at that, and my whole family's been sick except for me.
Nice.
So,
knock on wood. Your desk made of wood there?
No, it's not. But my brother-in-law would tell you that the part of the reason that is because good bacteria, when you have good bacteria in your body or you have an adequate amount, what it is it's like a coating structure. And so when you actually get bad bacteria that comes into you that would be, cause you illness, your body's even better. It's like, hey, this is bacteria and this is foreign, but it's helpful. So when bad stuff's coming in, you're like, your system's primed to be like, oh, that's bad. We need to get rid of an attack.
Sure.
So
it helps differentiate, maybe. I don't know.
Exactly.
It's amazing, the human body. I don't think we have time to get into it today.
That's awesome.
But it's amazing, like at a molecular level, what it can and can't do, and just all the different things it senses, and I don't know.
We understand less than 1% of our DNA. Did you know that?
Yeah. I've heard something like that, but I'm not surprised. I mean,
and the DNA of a person, if you were to compute the DNA of a single, it might even be a single strand, you would fill all of the storage that we currently have in our world.
Isn't it crazy that they're looking at like DNA splicing? So like you can almost like make a baby, like create a baby.
Yes, I've heard about. There's a lot of shows. Like now you have new one on Netflix is like The Uglies. It kind of reminds me of that. There is a show. Was it Almost Human or something like that? And it was based in Detroit. He was a cop. He's an AI robot, but then he's got an actual dude with a sliced arm. Well, anyway, they're like cops together. And one of the types of people that lives in this like dystopia's future are what they call chromes, which are people that their parents genetically modified them in the womb so that they were born the way that they want them with certain skills and certain physical attributes and stuff like that. And they call them chromes.
Yeah.
So
plug on The Uglies. Good season or show. I've watched it.
Was it a show or a movie?
I don't know. Let me look at the old Google machine.
Did you watch it?
I did. I just can't remember because I binge stuff. Okay, so if it was a series, I watched it in like a week. If it was a movie, I watched it in a day. I don't remember.
Yeah. What else have you been binging? I'd be curious.
Uglies is it's a movie. 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yikes.
Ooh.
I am watching. I watched. What have I been watching? The new season of Night Agent. Been watching that. That's a good one. Off
I've
Netflix.
not watched that one. I've not watched that one.
I started watching.
Wife might have though.
I started watching Alien Resident. I think it was what it was called. It's like an older show. Like the new season, the third season just came out or is coming out in February. It's basically like an alien crash lands on Earth because he was supposed to destroy it, and now he took human form and is like trying to fit in while he finds the device. Is as far as I've gotten, and it's like it's like a comedy.
That sounds funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because like he's like these humans are feeling sad because someone died. Like, what is this emotion? It sounds worthless. And like he's like trying to like understand. He's like, my wife died, but now I feel sad about it. Like, what am I developing human emotions? Like just like random stuff like that. So cool. Pretty funny. Just like a easy watch, you know. You know, there's some series like you have to like put your phone down and like you gotta talk to somebody. You pause it. You know, I think of like Game of Thrones is a lot like that. I think of Altered Carbon. Great
I like
show.
that. I really wish they didn't end it. I really wish there was more on it.
Yeah,
they did like a cartoon series of it. I think.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
I know.
But
that's a cool thing though. The stacks, like I thought it was a really cool concept. Yeah, I thought it was a really cool concept.
It was kind of like Cyberpunk, but like in TV form and stuff. But anyways, yeah. So it's an easy watch. I don't know, man. I've been so busy, honestly, just with life and work and then the school and stuff. Like haven't really watched a ton of shows. It's more movies I watch because it's like one sitting done. Don't have to like because again, I'm in the generation / the person where like a new season comes out and I want to watch this 8 episodes as quickly as I can.
Yeah, I get that. You want to know what's next because they always leave cliffhangers. Like
Yeah.
the transition from episode to episode is always
Right.
like, now I gotta wait a whole week.
Yeah, yeah. Like so, and
yeah.
I do like how they like so. Skeleton Crew came out on Disney Plus for Star Wars. I enjoyed it. It was way off base from what Star Wars normally is, but I enjoyed it. But it was one of those every Tuesday they release a new episode, and you're like, what? That's it? And then you have to wait an entire week before you get to watch it again. Like, God, what are we?
Yeah, I know.
Boomers or what?
We're so coddled. We're so coddled. It sounds like you're sounding like my daughter, who's like, "What is this?" It's a commercial, honey. They have these sometimes. We've been watching Treehouse Masters. Me and my kiddos. We've been watching
cool.
Treehouse Masters at night. That's fun.
Yeah.
And then my wife and I recently watched Fall Guy. It's Emily
that's good.
Blunt and Ryan Gosling. Yeah, that is. I really liked that movie. Actually, I was like, one of the better rom-coms in my opinion. It was just funny. It was a good. I think the tension between Emily Blunt and the Ryan Gosling character is just. I think Emily performs it very well. Like it's very well performed by her. So it's a great movie.
That one, and then I liked Roadhouse. It's kind of the same with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like the same kind of stuff. Conor
McGregor.
Yeah. I like that.
Are they gonna cancel that movie now? They brought Kang, the guy that played Kang in the Marvel stuff. He's allowed to come back. I think they uncanceled him because his stuff was a little phony or something. I don't know.
Well, but, I'm sure Marvel doesn't need help making more movies. Let's be honest.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying it's dead. I love the Marvel series, but I don't think it's died without Iron Man.
I don't think it's dead in the sense of like they're gonna still make a bunch of movies. I just hate how we talked about this a little before. I just hate how it feels like there isn't a real storyline. Like the new Thor movie, like the Love and Thunder, was all just basically trying to be a comedy. Like he was just cracking jokes left and right, and it was just I don't know. It just didn't have a huge storyline because they had all this build up, right? They had these shows that translated into Avengers that then had the Endgame, and then after like the Endgame movie, like it almost there's 12 or 15 movies before that, it all like closed it, right? You had this generational movie and it ended with Endgame or whatever the last one was. And now we have stuff after where like the world is back to normal, but then there's new people and new storylines, and it just I don't know. I don't know if they maybe didn't translate it well, or it's just one of those things where there's so many comics and different routes, and now it's just starting to feather out. But I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there for sure.
So we'll see. I mean, this year there's like the new Captain America movie coming out, the Avengers Secret Wars. Who knows?
The Red Hulk and the new Iron. Is it Iron Man?
It's the Captain America.
No, sorry, Captain America. Yes.
Yeah, the new
Captain
Red
America.
Hulk.
Yeah. Which the Red Hulk is supposedly, according to some Marvel lore videos that I watched, potentially one of the most powerful beings in the world, because he eventually in the comic books, he eventually transcends to like a deity type level where he can manipulate matter and stuff like that. So
damn. Well, I just asked Kelly, my buddy. Obviously, he was on the podcast last year.
Yeah.
He like anytime I have a question regarding like background on Star Wars or Marvel, I'm like, hey, what's going on here? He goes, oh, you don't know? I'm like, no, I don't. He goes, well, this is this. I'm like, oh, sounds good. Like I don't even have to Google anything. I just ask him, and he knows all of it. So
nice, nerding out.
Yeah. So, what was I gonna say? Oh, he actually corrected us one time when we were talking about the movie, the Doctor Strange movie. That girl that was called Americana or something. That's actually what her name was in the comic book. So it wasn't
Mexican.
No, I don't know that part. I'm just saying we had talked about how like they played on words with Americana being with all the controversy.
Okay, so that was her name.
That was the name of the comic book.
Was she a Latino character? That would be my next.
That I don't know, but I am just saying he knows like that level of knowledge that I just have to ask him.
Well, my one thing again, so I kind of just alluded to it a little bit, is the whole race swapping thing, which I actually could care less about in most instances. Again, my problem with race swapping is that they're intentionally doing it. It's
Right.
not we're picking the best actor. It's like we're looking for somebody to de-white these comic books, right?
Because back in the day, that's all that really was put in those. I
Yeah.
mean,
And that, so again, if there's instances where sometimes they want to change that character, it's not a big deal, but it's like it's to the point where it's like now characters are 60-70%
yeah,
ethnically unwhite, and the other side of it is white still, maybe.
I think it
know.
just goes back to in general, like even at work and stuff, you got to make sure you just got to pick the best applicant for the
The
job,
best person.
whether or
don't
not
care what color they
whoever
are.
it is, right? You shouldn't have a social preference either way, whether it's this way or this way. Just
Man,
whoever
woman,
right,
gay, straight.
right. So, well, anyways, I think that's our time, Derek. So, good to see you again, buddy.
Very authoritative. That's our time.
I'm trying to be more prompt because
Yeah.
I'll trail it off for like 5 minutes. So I'm just gonna. No, I'm just kidding. But good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
We'll
Here's
have
to
a new
2025 in February of 2025.
Hey, it's the new fiscal year, okay? So technically, it's the
we
new
better up our rate because right now we're on pace for 6 episodes.
12 once a month.
It's already past January, bud.
All right. Until next time.
I'm Derek.
And I'm Jared, and this is Two Peas and a Pod.
Peace.